All right, let's bring in now Sky News host Steve Price. Steve, terrific to see you as always on a Wednesday. Look, this scandal over Qantas, Qatar Airways, the flight credits opening, Alan Joyce's own pay packet, just how much of a golden handshake he's yet to receive is just getting bigger day after day after day. Where do you predict this is going to land?
I think the point you made about the fact that the Prime Minister appears to be personally involved in some close relationship with the former CEO of Qantas is probably very damaging to Anthony Albanese. It was probably lucky for him that he was on a government taxpayer-funded jet on the way to Indonesia today rather than in question time. I think it would have been squirming for him to sit there and go through all of that today. We now need to really know, and I think Graham Turner has put it very well, the travel operator. We need to know why Australians are paying such high fares for airfares out of the country. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're flying first class, business class or economy. You're paying too much to get to the other side of the world. And someone made a point today that we have, as you know, massive immigration from India, and a lot of our Indian migrants that come here like to return home on a regular basis. Well, Qatar flies those routes. And so we need to know who made that decision not to let them come into the country with extra flights. And what the government really should do is reverse that and let the Qatari flights come in from now.
All right, let's move on to the Voice to Parliament. Yet another bad poll for the Yes campaign. This is Guardian's essential poll, and it reveals that more voters are intending to vote no at the upcoming referendum than yes. It's 48% say they'll vote no, 42% yes, 10% undecided. Steve, what do you think this is showing? Do you think there is now still a chance for the Yes campaign to win over that group of undecided voters, or do you think people are starting to cement their decisions?
Oh, I think they're cementing their decisions. I mean, if the Guardian readers are turning on you, then you know you've got a problem if you're trying to prosecute the Yes case, don't you? I mean, the Guardian readership clearly is of the left and would be highly supportive of the Yes campaign. I tell you what I did, Sharri, today I watched the press club address from Professor Marsha Langton. She did the Yes campaign no favours today at all. Most of our viewers probably didn't sit and watch it, but she refused to use the Christian names of people like Jacinta Price, of Warren Mundine, of Peter Dutton. She was aggressive. And I think the way that she laid out the case today would make any of those so-called soft no voters who they want to turn into yes voters, she probably sealed the case, because I thought what she did today would have said to anybody who was unsure of the way they were going to vote, well, I'm not sure that I actually want this in my country.
Now, in New South Wales, the Labor Premier, Chris Minns, has decided to intervene to extend the life of coal-fired power station Eraring. Funnily enough, the Coalition, Matt Kean, has criticised the move. He's been a big supporter of renewable energy. The New South Wales Energy Minister, Penny Sharp, told him today to get out of the way, and that's a direct quote, get out of the way. She says his random speculation, another direct quote, is unhelpful. What do you think of this? It's you know, usually it would be Labor shutting down the coal-fired power station and the Coalition arguing for it to be kept open, but under Chris Minns, it seems like he's made this decision because he realistically knows the energy supply just isn't there and we need to keep the lights on.
Yeah, I think Chris Minns as Premier is a realist. I mean, I've got a lot of time for Christopher Minns and for Peter Malinauskas, the Labor Premier of South Australia. I think they're the two standout Labor politicians in the country at the moment. I mean, Matt Kean. I mean, get out of the way, Matt Kean. We've all been saying get out of the way, Matt Kean, for the last 10 years. When he was in government, he was going on in this green dream that he has, trying to push New South Wales out of coal. And Matt Kean he is just irrational on this, and he should just shut up. And I think get out of the way is probably a good way to put it. Matt Kean is just out of touch with what needs to happen. Did he not read the AEMO report that was released earlier in the week that says we're going to end up having blackouts this summer. I mean, Matt Kean needs to have a good hard look at himself, Sharri.
Now, Steve, Ben Fordham on his radio program this morning reported, and he had a guest on, and he said that there were 40,000 Aboriginal land claims that are awaiting assessment in New South Wales. I just thought that can't be the case. 40,000. We put questions in to the department today, and the Department of Planning Environment came back and said that as of the 30th of June 2023, 38,339 Aboriginal land claims awaiting assessment in New South Wales alone. I think that's extraordinary. One of these matters came up in the news today, Mossman Council voting against an Indigenous land request of beachfront real estate worth about $100 million. It was lodged, this claim, more than a decade ago, but just defeated today. What do you think about these?
Well, it's out of the council hands, really. I mean, the council can say no, but the land claim can still be successful. I know that bit of dirt particularly well. I used to live over the back of Balmoral, and I used to park my car near there when going to Balmoral Beach. And it's a magnificent piece of real estate, and it's one of those bits of land where you go, gee, wouldn't you love to get your hands on this? The estimate is, as you said, $100 million that block of land is worth. And it is, if it was handed over in this land claim that Indigenous Australians have over it, it would be freehold. It's not as if it's going to then stay as national park, preserved as the way it would have been before the colonisers got to Balmoral Beach. It would be turned over to freehold, and the land council that then controls it could either A, sell it, subdivide it, build blocks of apartments on it. They're not going to leave it with bush turkeys wandering around on that piece of beautiful bit of real estate. They're going to flog it off. The only protection for it is probably the New South Wales government and that council, although if the yes vote gets up, who knows what might happen.
All right, Steve Price, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, as always, on a Wednesday.